2 years ago, I saw someone dumping dead bodies. I couldn't prove it to the police. And now, I'm sure that person still watches me.
Welcome to Edenfold.
It started as a shortcut. I work nights, and the quickest way home from the warehouse is an old service road that cuts behind a row of abandoned industrial lots. During the day, it's just cracked asphalt and rusted fences, but at 3 in the morning, it feels like a different place entirely. No streetlights, no traffic, just wind moving through broken chain link. I'd driven it 100 times without thinking about it, until the night I saw the truck. It was parked sideways across the far end of the road, headlights off. The engine was running, though. I could hear the low rumble even before my own headlights swept across it. At first, I thought it was someone broken down. Then I saw the back of the truck was open, and a man was standing there. He froze when my headlights hit him. We both stayed like that for a second, me halfway down the road, him standing behind the truck like a deer caught in a beam. I slowed instinctively. That was when I noticed the tarp. It was spread across the ground behind the truck bed, and there was something on it. Long, wrapped. The man grabbed one end of the tarp and dragged it toward the ditch beside the road. The shape rolled slightly, not stiff, heavy. My stomach tightened. There are certain movements you recognize immediately, even if you don't want to. The way something bends, the way weight shifts. It looked exactly like someone dragging a body. I stopped the car without meaning to. The engine idled loudly in the silence. The man turned toward me. I couldn't see his face clearly, just a dark outline under the glow of my headlights. He stared straight at my windshield. For a second, I thought he might run. Instead, he stood up slowly and wiped his hands on his jeans. Then he walked toward my car. Not fast, just steady, like this was a normal conversation he expected to have. Every instinct I had screamed at me to drive, but my brain was still stuck trying to process what I'd just seen. He stopped a few feet from my hood. I noticed something then. There were 2 shapes in the back of the truck, 2 more tarps. He leaned slightly toward my window. I hadn't rolled it down, but he spoke anyway. "You didn't see anything." It wasn't aggressive. It wasn't even threatening. Just calm, matter of fact, like he was reminding me of something obvious. I didn't respond. I couldn't. He waited a second. Then he nodded to himself. "Good," he said, and turned around. He walked back to the truck like I wasn't even there anymore. That snapped me out of it. I hit the gas and drove straight past him. As I passed the truck, my headlights swept across the ditch. The tarp he dragged was half off, just enough for the wind to lift the edge. I saw a hand, pale, bent the wrong way. My stomach flipped and I kept driving. I didn't stop until I reached the main road. I called the police right away. They took the report seriously at first, asked for the location, asked for the truck description, asked if I'd seen the man's face. I drove back there with them 20 minutes later. The road was empty. No truck, no tarp, no tire tracks, nothing in the ditch, just gravel and weeds. The officer walked the area with a flashlight for a while. Then he came back shaking his head. "Probably someone dumping trash," he said. I told him what I saw. The hand, the shakes in the truck bed. He didn't argue, but the look on his face changed. That look people get when they've already decided what they believe. They took my statement and left. I tried to convince myself they were right. Maybe it was garbage bags. Maybe the light played tricks. Maybe. A week later, I saw the truck again. Not on that road, in the grocery store parking lot. Same faded red paint, same dent above the rear wheel. It was parked 2 rows over from my car. Empty. No one inside, but the back of the truck bed was clean. Too clean, like it had been washed. I stood there staring at it for a long time. Eventually, I forced myself to leave. I told myself it was probably a coincidence. Lots of trucks look alike. Lots of people own red pickups. But the next morning when I got in my car for work, there was a piece of blue tarp tucked under my windshield wiper. Just a small square, cut cleanly from a larger sheet. Nothing written on it, nothing attached. But when I touched it, my hand smelled of damp earth after. And something else. Something rancid. I don't take that road home anymore. I drive the long way now. Maybe it's paranoia or just a cautious mind, but sometimes, late at night when I stop at a red light, I'll glance in my rearview mirror, and every once in a while, I see a pair of headlights sitting way back in the dark, like they know which road I used to take, and they're waiting for me to go back.
I didn't notice him the first time. That's the part that bothers me now, because apparently everyone else already had. I live on a quiet residential street, the kind where nothing really happens except deliveries arriving late and neighbors arguing politely over parking spaces. Rows of identical houses, small front gardens, motion lights that flick on whenever a fox walks past. Safe enough that people forget to lock their doors sometimes. At least, they used to. It started with a message in the neighborhood group chat. Someone posted around midnight. Has anyone else seen a man checking doors? Most people assumed it was paranoia. We get those posts occasionally. Someone hears footsteps, someone thinks they saw a stranger, someone's camera caught a shadow that turns out to be a cat. But then, Mrs. Ellis from 3 houses down replied. She attached a screenshot from her doorbell camera. A man stood on her porch at 2:13 a.m., not knocking, not ringing the bell, just trying the handle, calmly, like he expected it to open. He wore a dark jacket and jeans, nothing unusual, except for the plastic shopping bag hanging from his wrist, a thin white one, the kind you get from corner shops. It looked heavy. He tugged the handle once, twice, then walked away without looking at the camera. No rush, no panic, just moved to the next house. The police were called. They drove around that night but didn't find anyone. Advice was given, lock doors, report sightings. Most people forgot about it within a few days. Until more videos appeared. Different houses, different nights. Same man, same bag, always between 2 and 3 a.m., always trying the front door first. Never windows, never back gardens, just the front entrance, like he believed he was expected. I only became involved because of my own camera. I installed it after the second video circulated, mostly for reassurance. For weeks, nothing happened. Then, one morning, I woke up to a notification. Motion detected, 2:41 a.m. I opened the app while still half asleep, and there he was, standing inches from my door, closer than anyone should ever stand to your home. He didn't look at the camera. He looked at the door itself, studying it. The plastic bag hung from his hand, gently swaying. He reached out and tested the handle. Once, twice. Then he leaned closer, almost pressing his forehead against the wood, like he was listening. After a few seconds, he nodded slightly to himself and walked away. That should have been the end of it. But later that day, I noticed something strange. My welcome mat had been moved. Not far, just slightly off-center. Enough that I knew it hadn't been like that before. I checked the footage again. Right before leaving, the man had crouched down. He lifted the mat, looked underneath, then placed it back carefully. That unsettled me more than the door handle. It felt personal. Over the next week, sightings increased. Neighbors compared timestamps. He was systematic. One side of the street one night, the opposite another. Never repeating a house too quickly. Always carrying the same plastic bag. Someone joked that maybe he was delivering leaflets. No one laughed. Then, Mrs. Patel's door opened. She'd forgotten to lock it. Her camera caught everything. The man tried the handle. It turned. The door opened a few inches. He froze. For the first time, he hesitated, then slowly pushed the door wider. The footage ends there, because her camera only recorded the porch. She woke up when she heard footsteps inside and screamed. The man ran immediately. Police arrived within minutes. Nothing stolen, nothing damaged, but she said the plastic bag was placed carefully on her hallway table before he ran. Inside were groceries, milk, bread, apples, all fresh, all unopened. All fresh, all unopened. And sitting on top was a restamp timestamped exactly when the motion alert triggered. I checked with the care facility the next morning. Leonard hadn't left. He couldn't. He'd been asleep under supervision all night. I still lock my door every evening now. Not because I'm afraid someone will break in, but because sometimes around 2:40 a.m., my doorbell camera activates and the motion notification shows nothing moving. Just the handle, very slowly, trying to turn.